The worry and the concern is that if you have fired your biggest gun, if it doesn't work, what have you got left to do?
Osmond, despite recent measures implemented by the European Central Bank, investors are still cautious that it will take more than what's already been implemented to heal the Eurozone economies. What's your take on this?
Well, the European Central Bank announced much stronger measures than were expected. It completely confused the market. The currency went down, then went up. It had its biggest daily swing almost since the euro was born. It was a larger measure than was expected, but the worry and the concern is that if you have fired your biggest gun, if it doesn't work, what have you got left to do? And there are concerns that if this isn't going to work, then the Eurozone is headed potentially for a deflationary spiral, and that has got some investors very worried.
It's definitely very concerning. So can we take a step back? Can you talk us through what the ECB has actually implemented so far this year?
Yes, well, they have decreased interest rates again, so the cost to banks of holding money at the ECB has increased from 0.3% negative rates to 0.4%, and they announced more quantitative easing, printing money, throwing money into the markets, an extra 20 billion euros, the idea being that this will hopefully create some inflationary pressures and help the economy inflate itself out of any recessionary tendencies. The worry is, of course, that there will be deflationary pressures within the market, not least because of commodity prices, slowdown in China and all these other things that we read about that are all interlinked. You can't these days be in one part of the world, you have to be everywhere at once, as it were.
So what are the main concerns for the Eurozone economy so far this year?
Well, there are concerns about the economy itself. Simple, is there enough demand in the economy? Have people got enough money? As commodity prices are falling, what is that going to do to the zone? And what about demand in China? There is also a lot of things that are not economic that the central bank has absolutely no control over. The Syrian refugee crisis is a significant potential drain on European resources. There are also still ongoing concerns about Greece, ongoing concerns about Ukraine on the borders of Europe. So there are many political, non-economic issues which are also potentially going to weigh on the currency. And finally, of course, we have the uncertainty of a British referendum on Brexit, as it's called, whether that will happen or not in terms of whether they will vote to leave. That would be a seismic event in the Eurozone, even though the UK is not part of the Eurozone itself. That would be significant. And the worries that prevail over the current US election cycle are also a concern in Europe.
Definitely. And finally, what is your outlook for the rest of the Eurozone economies in 2016 and for the euro?
I think the currency will stay fairly stable. There may be some short periods of instability as more news is digested by markets, but I think we will have very low inflation, possibly slight deflation. I hope we will be able to keep a little bit of inflation in the market so that we do keep the economies stronger. If not, we do risk a deflationary spiral, which could be very, very damaging. But again, a lot of this depends on the outcome of events in Syria, refugees, Greece, and all these different areas. It's a very complicated area. Investors will be positioning themselves to take advantage of any particular series of outcomes, and effectively you're then looking at the weight of money, the sheer what people are doing, where the large money is going, and that will dictate what happens next.
Definitely. Well, Osmond, thank you so much for coming in once again and sharing your insights with us.
You're welcome.
Well, that's all for myself and Osmond, but for all the latest Dukascopy updates and exclusive market moves, keep clicking back to Dukascopy TV.